Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad that you could make the Tech Foundation Online Business Training Level 1. This is really exciting and really one of my favorite places to start in our organization as far as our courses, our certification, our training, our immense amount of software leverage that we give you. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you. It looks like we have people still coming in, and this is the Online Business Tech Foundation 1 with Matt Cruz, myself, and Sue Bell when she can make it. And we are your instructors. And this is the Technical Foundation Coaching Program where you learn from Matt, myself, and Sue how to identify, understand, and build your presence. And the primary focus, which we're going to be going over today, the general focus of the entire training, we're going to be talking a lot in this course about researching your website silo architecture, but it's really so much more than that. And I'm really excited about it. Let me see who we all have coming in here today. Looks like Brian has arrived. Brian, thanks for helping me get a couple of things together with the certification stuff. Kurt is here. Lionel's here, and Neil, a few other people arriving. And let's just give it a minute or two here. And I'd like to introduce Matt Cruz. Matt is an online business ROI expert. He is one of the co-creators and core inventors of the NE Network Empire DWS, formerly called Domain Web Studio Silo Builder software system, which allows you to easily ascertain the value of the keywords and sculpt the data of your website silo architecture so that you have the ultimate keyword silo structure array. And in partnership with Sue Bell, the DWS NE Silo Builder system is quickly evolving to become one of the easiest and fastest ways to get the best and most profitable website silo architecture easily imported into your WordPress blog and or HTML. So Matt has really been a core, integral part of our team, and I've learned a ton from this guy. So I'd like to, Matt, just let you take over from here, and thanks for leading this course.
No worries. Thank you, Russ. How's it, guys? Welcome. I'm really excited to work with you guys over the next 8 weeks. Can you guys give me a 1 if you can hear me clearly, just so I can do an audio test before I start?
Yeah, it looks like most people
brilliant.
are able to meet you. One thing I just wanted to add before we begin, because we're going to jump into some pretty intense material. This is a perpetual mastermind training course, and I do have to add, for your protection, that we have a zero tolerance policy for digital theft. And the reason I'm putting this warning out is that by law I need to do it, and we're actually protecting your digital assets. We become intimate and supportive of every one of our students for the duration throughout the entire process of the Network Empire certification curriculum, which is an advanced university level almost. We actually are moving towards accreditation for university in some of these courses. So these are not internet marketing courses, and therefore we take actions to protect your digital information. And so I have to give that forewarning. Do not share, download, distribute, or group buy any of the materials. All I can say is that it's really not good for the persons who do that, and that's to protect your assets and your future and your career in this organization. So thank you so much for that. I just want to get that disclaimer out of the way. Matt, let's just jump right in and go over the documents that you want to show everybody what's going to be happening the next 8 weeks.
Okay, cool. Okay, guys. Yeah, I'm really excited, and I just want to take you guys today through what we've been doing over the 8 weeks. It's a busy road. You're going to be exposed to a lot of material that you probably know of or stuff that you haven't known of. Typically we find in the first 1, 2, and 3 weeks there's things that we do that other guys aren't really aware of or have never really grokked, and it could be seeming very difficult, but in reality it's not. Once we show you how we do it, it just gives you a lot more clarity. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to first take you guys, give you an overview of what we're going to do. Then I'm going to speak briefly about just like the design principles. What are the things that we think about from a very top level overview as we go through the 8 weeks. And then I'd like to just hear briefly about what you guys are building. We've got a nice little unique group this time, and to get first things first out of the way, typically how the course is going to work is you'll have direct access to me through Skype. I'm going to put my Skype email address. Well, most of you guys have pinged me on Skype already. If you've got any questions, just
yeah,
send
Matt.
this through to me on Skype straight away.
Yeah,
Yep.
Matt, by the way, I may not have added all of you guys, like Neil, Lionel, I'm not sure. Can you guys also please contact me so that I can add you to the Tech Foundation, the Level 1 Tech Foundation Skype group, which really Matt and I and Sue really do watch what's going on there, and it's actually become quite a huge asset, part of the course. So, and Matt or I will add you to that. Thank you, Matt.
No problem. So I'm in the chat window. You'll see my Skype address as jbaymdz. If you're looking for Russell, you can just type him on TeamZoom. You can catch him there, or you can post your group in the Technical Foundations members group area, and like Russ said, we monitor that all the time. So if you've got general questions, you can fire it across in the group area, and often the sparks have good conversations. Alternatively, you can email me or Skype me direct, and I'll help you as fast as I can. Typically, we get you back really quickly, and those channels are specifically for more private things. So when we actually speak about your project, keep it private so we don't have to divulge it in the actual open group. But for general questions, put them in a group, because then everybody benefits from the answer that you're actually asking. So it's quite a nice interactive area. Okay. As we go through the next 8 weeks, you guys are basically going to get access to me for live calls, and they get broken down into 1-hour segments. What I'll be doing tomorrow is I'll be releasing the link to book the appointments with you guys. And typically what we do on these 1-hour consultation calls is we actually speak about your project, we look at the data that you've drilled into, you ask me questions, and then I chat you through the process for that particular week we're on, or for that session that those things we're dealing with. We speak through it and we actually look at what you're building. And then that's where we spark off a lot of questions, and we really turn the Rubik's Cube around to see different perspectives of what we want to build. Okay, so in the tech course, basically what's going to happen is in week 1, we call it success through definition. I'm going to put the coaching areas link in the chat window as well for you guys, for the guys who haven't logged into the membership area. That link in this GoToMeeting chat area will basically show you the course outline. And in this course, we've got all the descriptions of what we do each week, plus videos explaining things in detail. Okay, so week 1, success through definition. This is basically where we start defining what it is that we want to build. In week 2, solutions to the pain. This is where Russell's going to take us through how to look at the market from a marketer's perspective, and then how to unravel the pains within a market and then find the best way to position your product or service. Week 3, we take the information that we've gathered in week 2 and we start analyzing the themes, the keywords, and the competitors, and this is where we do our market analysis, and that's where Sue and I will basically speak to you about Kraken, how to use TLKT, and those type of tools. Quick question for you guys. How many of you guys are doing local type of projects, if I can call it that? Local-based projects. Can you give me a 1 if you're doing local-based projects, or 2 if it's more of like a national or international type of website? Okay, so there's 1, 2, both. Okay. The reason why I'm asking this is just to help us determine what tools you'll be using more. In the previous Tech Foundations, nearly 80% of the students were all doing local stuff, so we focused more on TLKT instead of Kraken. Okay.
Right.
In week 4, this is where we're going to create our first silo, and we're going to start dropping the content, and that's when we actually go and we set up the framework, and we work with all the stuff like WordPress, the components that get put in, i.e. PayPal, autoresponders, all those type of stuff. Week 5, this is where we start importing the themes into WordPress, and we actually get our site live. And then in week 6, this is where we start setting up the one feed, and this is where we start working on the blog, where we start broadcasting and pushing our message out across the web. Okay. In week 7, this is where we actually have our site go live. We get it indexed, and then in week 8 we start doing our initial testing and measuring to measure the traffic and engagement that we have with our audience. Okay, so at the bottom of the webinar, can you guys see my screen clearly? Can you see me if you can see my screen clearly? Okay, the webinar archive is the archive of all previous webinars that we've had since the start or since the beginning of the Tech 1 course, okay? So there's a ton of really great webinars that are there already dealing with each different component. So if you want to move faster through the course and go ahead, you can always reference the webinar archive, and those webinars will discuss that specific week's stuff. So there's great content there. So don't feel like you can be held back. But typically, if you can stick with the course, just do your things 1 week at a time, you'll find that it'll actually work better. But there are no actual restrictions holding you back. Things aren't being drip-fed, and that you've got everything right there now. Okay?
Yes, and just on that note, the archives, you can go through them at your own pace. You can speed through them with like a speed software like eNounce. Some people have done that if you are interested. Some people listen to them in their car. I've heard one person, they're constantly running these webinars and learning a ton. Also wanted to add, because this question just came in, is it okay for me to take both Tech Level 1 and Level 2? It's not a problem at all for you to do that. Just know that you're going to need to really be brain crunching, because Matt is going to be expecting you to do the homework assignments for Level 1, and will be also expecting you to do the homework assignments for Level 2. So the cool thing is that if you can't, these are perpetual masterminds, so you will see the interplay between the two courses. That answers that question. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, and guys, remember, you can always come back, class after class after class. So once we finish this round of the tech courses, it doesn't mean that you can't join us again. You're always welcome to join us in future courses. So if week 3, 4, and 5 weren't clear to you, you can come back around the next time again, review, listen, speak, ask questions, and then go back, refine, tweak, and change on your actual site.
Precisely. And if
the whole process. Sorry, Russ.
No, I was just going to say, and the only exception to that is the coaching with Matt or myself. If it's persuasion stuff, generally come to me. If it's Matt, if it's a real technical, you'll go to Matt. But you only get 1 hour of that. But the reason we have the perpetual mastermind is because there's so much that's changing and evolving, so that 6 months from now you'll be able to come back and audit something if you want. And we hold that same value with all of our certified advisors over time. Once you make it through the certification process, we're able to talk to you using a different language than, say, the general public. So we really value that. So just want to make sure you guys know that you can attend any number of times. And it's been good for some students. We've had a student, for instance, that his family member got sick halfway through the course. He came back not the next training boot camp, but the one after that, and was able to finish that. And he wasn't able to get that one-time coaching during the first one, but he was able to follow up with the third one, right, Matt? So if they miss it for somehow, we can pick it up later. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, so we really respect your guys' investment. We really respect the initiative that you guys are taking, and you basically put your money where your mouth is. So because of that commitment you've made, we're now going to expect you to actually finish the task. So I want to see the websites when you've actually got along and built them. We want to look at them, check them, give some critique, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, quick.
Okay.
Hey,
so
Matt.
The course outline is essentially, Yep.
Hey, Matt. Did you find out? Are everybody? Can you give me a 1 if you're an agency or a shop that has clients, and a 2 if you're building your own site? Let's just get before Matt goes on. Let's just get a 1 if you're in a shop, and 2 if you're okay. Okay, gotcha. But planning on 2. Okay. All right. So we have Matt. This group is pretty much almost all mixed. Like they either have a client or 2, or they're building their own website.
Okay, well, that's cool. Guys, what we're going to show you and teach you here is a framework that you can use for your own personal stuff, or you can actually implement it into your business, customize it, tweak it, and sign bigger deals. Because the way you're going to look at the data, the way you're going to learn about persuasion, the way you're going to speak, and the way you're going to conceptualize what you look at when you actually see what we showed you, you're going to be looking at things in a different way. And you won't be speaking geek speak when you speak to business owners. You'll actually be speaking about their business and what the impact is if they make certain decisions utilizing what we're going to show you. Okay, so you actually speak to the business owners in business language, talking about commercial things that can actually make them more money, and then advising them on the best things to make. So we're going to go through all this over the next 8 weeks. And as you come back over the iterations, you're going to do this. If you do the Tech 2 course, this is where we take things a little bit deeper and we focus more on traffic and what's the aftermath after you've actually got your WR1 framework up? What happens next? That's what Tech 2 is all about. Okay, so at Network Empire, everything that we do is based on a stackable system principle, okay? And when we say stackable systems, what we're talking about is everything is built on the layer underneath it, okay? So we go through a specific process where we find out what the pain in the market is, we then look at the market, we extract the keywords, we find the solutions, we match our products to those solutions, we then understand how the market personalities actually communicate, we do our market research, we extract keywords, and then we start building our silo structure, we create the framework, then we start dropping our content in, we refine the content, we push it live, we test and measure. It's basically that type of principle that we're going through. That's the process we're going through. Okay, so I just want to quickly take you through a little PowerPoint presentation that I've done for you guys to sort of cover these ideas, just to simplify them and make them a bit more realistic for you. Okay, so what I want to speak about is just design principles. There's 12 of these design principles, and this is just a very top level overview. We're not going to go into a lot of depth right now, but the first principle that I typically start with is I observe and I interact. And what I mean by this is I take the time to actually look at the market, look at the traffic signals, look at the paid traffic indicators, and from that we can actually design solutions to suit our particular situation. Okay. So by observing and then interacting with the information, we can actually extract what it is that makes this particular project work. Okay. The next principle is catch and store energy. When we build our sites, the WR1, there's got to be a particular reason why you're going to go build a website. Okay, and most of the time is you want to either collect resources, like you want to build your list. Okay. That goes for current and future sales. You want to generate leads. That's for recurring income. You want domain authority, competitive edge, ranking, market domination. These ideas all come from the resources that we actually build. Okay, so when we catch and store energy, what I'm implying by this is there must be a specific purpose for what you are building. So in the Tech 1 course, we're going to learn about the WR1 WRS framework. That's our web system. And we're actually going to take that web system and break it down into its core components. So we can look at these components and we can plug and play with them and plug in components that we need for particular things. So for example, if we're building a lead generation site, we'll build it in a specific way with specific components. If we're doing a domain authority stack, we use specific properties and specific components to do that. And when we learn how to think about things in a component, plug and play type of way, it simplifies absolutely everything that we're doing. Okay. The third principle that we've got is obtain a yield. Okay. We want to make sure that there's going to be an ROI for the work that we're going to do. Okay. There's no point just building a website for the sake of it. Why are you building a website? What's the purpose of this actual website we want to build? Okay. Any system that you build must yield some form of ROI or perform a particular function as a resource that benefits the ecology of the system that you're building. Okay, so if we're doing a domain authority stack, those properties that we build for that particular thing, their function is to actually pass domain authority on and help you get ranked. If we're building a transaction website, a WR1 primary money site, the purpose of that site is to actually sell and promote the business and close the transactions with the client. If we're building the WR1 blog, that's our broadcasting engine. We are communicating with our market, our audience, and we are broadcasting out across the web. So everything we build must yield something back to us, okay? This is how we get evergreen systems up and running. Okay, principle 4 is apply self-regulation and accept feedback. You need to discourage inappropriate activities to ensure that the systems can continue to function well. What I mean by this is basically when you're building your framework, setting your sites and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and you don't want to do silly things like blog comments and using GSA and pushing all the backlinks back to your primary money site. There's certain things you can do and there's certain things you can't do, and we're going to cover them in this course, and we're going to show you how to use the core things to make it work. Okay. The fifth principle is use and value renewable resources and services. Okay, and this is quite an important one. When we actually look at what we have a lot of resources actually available to us ourselves. But when we ask ourselves the questions, are we actually utilizing these resources and getting the full benefit from them? Okay. Now, what I mean by this is the following few things. The internet's full of resources. Okay, we've got technologies that can reduce our workload. Example, RSS, APIs, plugins, hub type services like Hootsuite. There's these things that we can use, and if we use them in the right way, we can actually connect the data stream and reduce our workload. So we're going to cover that in weeks 6 and 7 when we start speaking about the one feed system, and that's going to show us how, we're going to show you guys how you do a blog post, and then there's a massive effect of it as we utilize these technologies to reduce our workload, but to give us more reach. Okay. The next thing we want to do is we want to utilize the power of popular platforms to build our domain authority. Okay. The indirect result is a significant reduce of IT debt. I'm going to be speaking a lot about IT debt in this course. A lot of people never really think about it, but every domain you buy, every server you rent, every piece of software you purchase, that all adds to IT debt. And if that debt is associated with a web property and you start thinking about it in that form, then it becomes very easy to actually look, okay, I've invested X amount of money into this project, and now I have to get a return on my investment. I have to pull that money out plus profit. Okay. The third thing here is excessive resource use and high-tech and new shiny objects is not only expensive, but it's distracting. Okay. And this can have a negative effect on your system if it's not implemented correctly. When I talk about excessive resources, every time there's a new plugin that comes out on Warriors Forum, one of those places, you might think to yourself, oh, that's going to be great. It's only $7, or it's only $15, or it's only $30. You go buy that plugin and you install it on your blog. What you're actually doing is you're bloating the blog, first of all, but are you really going to use that resource or that component? So what we're going to show you guys in this course is how to think about what you actually need when you actually build something. Okay. Principle 6, produce no waste. By valuing and making use of all the existing resources that are available to you, nothing goes to waste. Okay. And what we're speaking about here is your server. If you've got a server, you've got probably a few IPs you can use. You can set up probably 10 websites on that server. That means you can utilize a whole number of your domains. Now, back in the day, like here in the early 2000s, every time I got a brain fart or I got a new idea, I'd go buy a domain. And what I ended up with is a few hundred domains, but I never utilized many of those domains. And that was a waste of money because I was paying for those domains every single year. They're auto-renewing. Okay, so that was wasting. What we want to show you guys and teach you guys to do is, if you're going to purchase a domain, you have to set up a site on that actual domain. There's no point in having a domain if you're not going to use it. Okay, the same goes for websites. If you've got websites that are just lying around, what can you do with these and how can you turn them into be a resource that you can use? Okay, are you going to build up the domain authority and use them to link out to other sites? Are you going to turn them into a WR1 transaction site or a WR1 blog? Are you going to utilize these to do other things? Okay, so what are you doing with the existing websites that you have? If you've got any videos that you've made, can you use them? Are they offline? Are they online? Are they in your YouTube channel? Are they just lying around on your computer? Same goes for audios. Same goes for content. How much offline content have you got that's digital, that's been published for advertising but never gone online? These are all resources that we can actually use. Media, PDFs, PowerPoints. Everything we have there, let me just go back. All these components are things we can utilize. We can spin them. We can chop them up. We can use them for tweets. We can use them for all kinds of stuff to drive more traffic to our site once our site's built up. So we don't want to waste anything, and we don't want to over-purchase anything like that we have. Okay. Design from patterns to details, and this is the part that I love the most. This is principle 7, and this is where we actually go and we step back, we look at our data that we pull back from the web, and we see how the web users interact with the search engines. And this is where we're looking at the keywords and the data that goes with it. This data shows us patterns, and from these patterns we can actually extract the words that we want to use for the backbone of our design. And we do this by finding the pain in the market, understanding how the market uses language. From that, we discovered more keywords that will form part of the backbone of the topics or the niche conversations that we're going to actually enter into. And then fourth, figuring out what are the digital paths most traveled. Once we can actually isolate and understand how people use the language, often we can map out a market, and we'll find that there's a small little stream that runs through a specific market that is relevant to what we are selling as a product or service. And then we can actually focus on that stream, get ranked for that stream, and we don't have to worry about the rest. We can always come back, upgrade, increase, and grow our site and our network as we move on our time, but we don't have to take over the world in one foul swoop. We're going to do it step by step, and we're going to actually walk and dominate the market over a period of time. So there's one of the sayings that the guys use in ThinkZim is you can't see the forest from the trees, so you have to zoom out and look down from above. And when we get to week 3, that's what we're going to do. We're going to use Kraken. We're going to drill into Kraken for you guys. We can actually do the market analysis for you, and then I'm going to jump on a call with you, and we're actually going to talk about your market and the keywords that we found. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you how to actually look and utilize and get the most out of Kraken. Now, for you guys who are wanting to take on more clients, this is going to be a very, very important call, because there's a lot of things that you can do with Kraken that are really, really awesome, especially when you're speaking to clients. Like, number 1, you can find missed opportunities. Number 2, you can steer them in the right direction. Okay, so there could be other ways to get to where they want to be rather than taking the market head on. So we'll cover those in week 3. Okay, so principle number 8, integrate rather than segregate. Okay, so by putting the right things, components in the right place, you're able to provide the user with the systems that they can utilize to solve their problems. What we're wanting to do when we build our websites is we always want to build the websites from the user's perspective and not the business's perspective. Okay, one of the biggest problems most businesses make when they put their website online, it's all about them, but they're not actually speaking to their audience and trying to solve their audience's problems. I'm going to speak a lot about the market personalities in this course, and I'm going to constantly refer you back to the market personalities point of view. Okay, so as an example, if someone's in Forex, when we actually look at who the people are that actually deal with Forex, typically it's men between the ages of 30 and 70 years old. There's like 2 or 3 groups in between, but the ones that invest the most are typically the guys from 50 years up. Okay, they're the ones that are actually investing and they're playing the Forex market more. And the type of sites that they like looking at are very squarey, heart-shaped sites where it's just data. They're not worried about pretty pictures, they're not worried about anything else. They just want to see the stats of the stocks and what's happening on the markets at that point in time. Whereas if you're dealing with Sassy, which is a more of a female market, then we're dealing with more round edges, beautiful colors, bright. So design principles brings us here to this stage where we actually put the right components in the right place so that we can better communicate with our market audience. Okay. Components that are not utilized should not be part of the system. Okay. So I'm coming back to this point again. If you're not going to use it, don't install it. Get it out the way, because it just opens up vulnerabilities. It gives you more work with maintenance, and it slows everything down. Okay, so the WRS framework is a web ring system. It's an integrated system that has components for specific purposes. So when we go through this process, we're going to speak about the WR1 money site, which we call the transaction engine. We're going to speak about the WR1 broadcasting engine. This is our blog, where we're actually going to communicate and write blog posts, and we're going to promote through the blog. Okay. In the web ring system, it's got another ring, which is the WR2, and we're not going to cover the WR2 in this course. I'm not going to say much about it. And then there's the WR3. Okay. In certification, we cover the entire web ring system and how everything is actually interlinked all the way down to the WR1. Okay. So if you think of a network funnel, a sales funnel, the web ring system is like a huge funnel where right on the outside ethers, we're actually pulling traffic all the way from out there all the way down to our WR1, and we're actually working and siphoning everything in like a black hole into our WR1 transaction engine so we can actually transact. Okay, so utilize smart solutions in principle 9, and this is a very important one. You want to always develop systems that are easier to maintain. And I'm not saying easy, this is not a typo. I'm saying easier. You always want to make it easier to maintain. The less work that you have to do in maintaining your sites and keeping them up to date, the less the framework or the system costs you, okay? You want to make better use of your local resources, content, media, offline material. You want to take everything that's offline, digitize it, and utilize it somewhere in what you're building. You want to focus on producing more sustainable outcomes that are highly focused on what you sell as a product or service. Okay, so a good example of this is, let's think about something. Yeah, with the Sassy project, the girls specialize in hair, weddings, and makeup. At the moment, they're not doing anything with cosmetics, really, like they're not selling cosmetics. So I'm not going to focus on the cosmetic keywords in this project until they actually have something that they can sell. Okay, so if you're selling X, focus on how you best can sell X, build it, get it live, get it out there, start promoting it. Okay, you're going to come back to this, a repetitive process. You're going to always come back, refine, get the feedback through analytics, test, measure, refine, and you're going to have this constant repetitive process going on so that you can keep on improving your conversions. Now, the reason why I always go on about conversions is because if we get like a 1% conversion in our sales funnel, okay, and let's just say we're making $100 a month, that 1% automatically doubles what we're doing. So we'll have $200 a month. I'm just making the math very simple. So a 1% in conversion on your site can have a huge impact on your bottom line. So this is why we focus on producing highly focused sites that speak specifically to our market demographic and clearly defines how our product and service can best help them solve their pain or their problem that they have. It is the ultimate solution. Okay, so this is why we want to be smart about what we're doing. Now remember, you're the architect, so you need to start with the end in mind. What is your end goal? Where do you want to be in 6 months? What's the result? What are your targets? We want to know all those type of things before we actually start. Okay, so principle number 10 is use and value diversity. Diversity reduces vulnerability. This is a very, very important point, okay? And it does it to a variety of threats. So for example, the Google Zoo. You got panda, penguin, now it's the penguin. Next week they're going to have the jackal. Who knows what comes out? You've got hackers. You've got script kiddies. You've got people that just like mucking around and interfering with your site just because they think they can do it. Okay, so by diversifying your risk, it allows you to take advantage of the unique nature of the environment, the internet, in which your website resides. Okay, so we're going to also be talking about how to lock up your site, things you should do, shouldn't do, and we're going to show you how to lock and keep everything nice and tidy so that you don't actually get hit hard by all these vulnerabilities. Okay. Principle 11, use edges and value the marginal. Now that's a bit of a weird idea when you actually think of it. But what I mean by edges and the marginal is this principle speaks about being aware of what's going on around you, okay, and allowing yourself to think from a different perspective, okay. With a lot of the students, I've used the example of the Rubik's Cube. Can you guys give me a 1 if you've ever played with a Rubik's Cube when you were a kid? And you shuffled it up and you had to get all the squares right. Basically, the whole Rubik's Cube idea is looking at the block, turning it around, and seeing it from a different perspective, okay? Now, what we're going to do here is, with the edges and the value margins, it's the interface between things where most interesting events take place. And what's meant by this is if you look at something from an alternative perspective, you may find an alternative way to achieve a more efficient result. So often, taking something on head-on is not always the best choice. You might take a different keyword and come from the side and get into that same market from a different perspective. Okay, so this is why we're going to look at the edges and we'll see what's going on in the margins, and we're going to sort of understand and be aware, is there a better way to actually communicate this message? Does this message actually speak directly to the pain, or does this other word actually give us a better in and help us address the conversation more effectively? Okay. Now, these are often the most valuable, diverse, and productive elements in the system. In many cases, it's just a few keywords that generate most of the business's actual leads. And what we want to learn in Tech 1 as we go through these 8 weeks is how to identify these keywords that actually generate and drive businesses that we're actually going to be competing with. So we're going to show you briefly how to do this. We're going to use Kraken to find the missed opportunities. We're going to look at all this kind of stuff to show you how we can squeeze more out of that market as we start working through it. Okay, and then don't think you're on the right track just because it's a well-beaten path. Remember, sheep follow sheep. You're the wolf. And what I mean by this is, if everybody's going in one direction, it doesn't mean that it's actually the right thing to do. Allow yourself to actually look around the edges and the margins and say, okay, is this the best route? Now, for many years, it's always been about backlinks, 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 backlinks. And then we get an expert like Jimmy Kelley who came along, and he's a real wolf. And he says, let the sheep follow the sheep. I'm doing X. And he went on and did his own thing and totally crushed the markets. This is what I want you guys to start becoming aware of. Okay. So the last one, creatively use and respond to change. You can have a positive impact on inevitable change by carefully observing and then intervening at the right time. Vision is not seeing things as they are, but as they will be. And what I mean by this principle over here is, when we look at the information, allow it to tell us the story of what's going on. Don't come there with a preconceived idea. Keep yourself open to what it's actually saying. And that will expose a lot of things you can do, small tweaks you can make that actually make your whole life, excuse me, much better. Example, you could remove one element from your web page and your opt-in conversions could double. That's the example of a positive impact. Okay, so those are the 12 principles that I've sort of jotted down for you guys today when we're looking at this whole story.
Okay, let's go ahead and stop for a second.
So over the next 12 weeks...
Let's go ahead and stop for a second, Matt.
Finish this video.
Okay, go ahead.
No worries. Over the next 8 weeks, these are the things we're going to cover, and at the end, we want to have our website live, and we're going to start working on it.
Very cool.
Maybe some questions, Russ?
Yeah, well, one person did recognize where these design principles come from. They are copyrighted by David Holmgren of the permaculture community, and they are appropriate for the sustainable development of web development. They're appropriate because the perpetual downstream socially activated one web ring traffic system really is sustainable architecture. And we really wanted to give you guys, it's kind of interesting to hear about what it actually is. Neil actually, he's one of our students in this course, has a background in permaculture, so he recognized them immediately. You can see where sustainability and creating a network of sustainability is really what Matt's talking about here. And you can see that these principles will start to reveal themselves as you go through the entire curriculum. Now, do you have any questions about any of these particular things, where we are right now, and anything specific? Let's go ahead and take a pause and take some questions for a moment. Okay. Nope, it looks like we're good to move on.
Okay, so guys, I just jotted those principles down today because when I was going through the whole permaculture thing, I thought to myself, these really apply to what we're doing because it's a universal law that essentially we're dealing with. And when we bring our websites into this idea, we start thinking about them creating a sustainable evergreen system that actually becomes self-sustaining. That's the ultimate goal of what we're trying to achieve with what we're doing through the WR1, WR7 framework. We want evergreen system that actually grows and moves with the market that we were dealing with. Okay, so those principles, when I looked at them, I thought they're really good and they really apply to the digital space that we actually work in, because essentially we are growing networks, and the yields, the crop that we're pulling back is leads, it's transactions, it's building our communities. Okay.
Let's take a little bit of a survey here. If you guys, I just want to get to know each one of you personally. I know Matt does as well. Can you let me know if you're making less than $100 per month on the internet right now? It's okay to be honest. I will not read your name out loud or embarrass you in any way. I need to get the scale of adaptation and profit. If you're making less than $100 per month on the internet, please give me a 1. Okay, if you're making less than $3,000 a month on the internet, give me a 1. Okay, no, that's a great question. One of the students is asking, I'm going to go ahead and count if you have clients that are paying you. In my opinion, you are making money on the internet. We'll segregate into the client thing as well. If you're making less than $3,000 a month in total for any assets that you generate, any skill sets that you use that are 100% out of your office through the computer, if it's less than $3,000, give me a 1. Kurt's like, damn, I'm making money. Okay. Well, I knew you were, Kurt, because you're pretty good at the panda penguin penalty stuff. You're becoming kind of a badass. Okay. Nobody. If you're making less than $10,000 a month on the internet right now via either agency or whether you're making it through your own site, doesn't matter. Affiliate, I don't care. Anything goes. Just less than 10,000 income from your computer. Okay. It gives me some idea. Now we're starting to get into, oh, okay. Fabulous. Great one. Okay, good. So that gives us a little bit of a range. But I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit higher because we do have some people in here that are making more than that. If you're making less than $15,000 from your computer, just give me an idea. Okay, so that person, there's a person that's above 15K. Okay, good. So we have a good range, but I will say that it's just good for you guys to know in this batch, in this team, that everybody is generally making, over $1,000 or greater per month. And so that gives us a little bit to go on, Matt. And so what that kind of means is that we don't have any absolute, like I went out and bought a computer yesterday at Walmart, and I'm just trying to figure stuff out. So that's good to know. Thanks, guys. And one other thing I'd like to do here, this is good too because Matt spends so much time following up with individuals, and I do as well when it comes to the persuasion stuff. What if you could type in your greatest fuzzy spot? When I say fuzzy, hopefully you know what I mean, like this clouded, shrouded, like this thing in your mind that you don't fully understand about our system. Things that you're hoping to get out of this course, or unlock the answer to this fuzzy, maybe a blocked area, or something that you just don't quite fully grok or understand. Just type that in to the window. Take your time, take a minute if you need to. I actually do write these things down on my pad. Each one of my students is on the whiteboard. It's really, I know it is for Matt too. We really know who you guys are, and that just. Okay, you guys are actually typing in the number that you're making online. That makes it easier. I didn't want to come right out and ask you guys what you're earning. That's kind of rude. But that's good. I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. So go ahead and give me an idea. Just give me a word or maybe a phrase of what the biggest thing that you would like to unlock, or the biggest blockage that you might have as an individual for maybe the whole Network Empire certification curriculum. What you're hoping to glean from this particular course that drove you to hitting buy button. Just give me some idea. This is really important, guys. So just give me a clarity on that particular thing. Take a minute. I've got no responses yet. And then before we move on, I really want to grasp that as we're moving forward. Okay. Okay, good.
Automation and sustainability.
Yes. Semi-automation without sacrificing quality. Got it. That's a very, very good one. Sustainability, which is what Matt was just speaking to. Okay. Affiliate or e-commerce mysteries. Interesting. Okay. And okay, here's another one. How to create Kraken maps that will develop into DWS and eventual sites. Okay, great. So you're really focused on, I'm not going to use any names right here. You're really focused on the blueprint process. Matt is exceptionally good at. He's exceptionally good at many. That one, you're definitely perfect. Everything else is covered too. Here's an interesting one: real-world silo design that matches what a client needs some to be. So again, blueprinting and silo design, not theoretical ideal. So what you're actually looking for is how to take this idealized keyword set and turn it into something that actually matches or superimposes onto the business model in a way that's not just like, automatic silo building that doesn't match what they're selling, right? We get into that a lot. That's a really, really good one. Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's one of the strengths, by the way, Brian, of this course, is really understanding the difference between technical silo architecture and persuasion architecture, in other words, the blending together. I think Dennis Johnson said it best in his certification graduate testimonial, where he said, like, the blending together of the human world with the machine world is really a missing piece in a lot of people's minds and in the industry, and it's one of the biggest takeaways. We'll really move into that kind of stuff. And Brian, I know you always help me make things better. You're always saying, hey, this is like so that's good. By the way, I would like to add to all of you guys that this is not a static course. It's collaborative. There's a subtle aspect of it that's collaborative. If we find a new way or a new eureka that you guys have, because Matt explained something a specific way, like if we use the permaculture principles and you guys get an aspect of that with that, we actually will adapt. It's a dynamic system, so we will adapt new learning to an unexpected serendipitous learning event. Also, another one is being able to follow a structured process from beginning to end, and that's also where Matt really shines, because as you saw in his interview, probably on the homepage here of part one, he has the experience of running surfboard businesses and online businesses where the manufacturing process was a key component, and that's one of the real advantages that he brings to the table for us. So that's really, really good. Okay, good. Thank you, guys. I'm going to write all these down, and that gives me a good idea of where each one of you are at. Okay?
Okay. So what we're going to do, guys, is I'm going to just quickly take you through an image of what we're going to do for better viewing. In the chat window, I'm going to put the link here for you. This is the process that we're actually going to run through. So to answer one of the questions that Brian was asking, I think it was, sorry. Yes, sorry, it was Lionel. This is the process we're going to go through. So we're at week 1, and you can see we got start, and we're going to be looking at a document called What the Heck Are We Selling? And we're going to start defining our markets. Okay, so you'll see the red dot, and as you move through the course, the red dot's going to move around. It's going to guide you through this actual process, and you can see all the things, all the moving parts that we're dealing with as we go through the process to get our site live and to get it all set up and ready. Okay, so this week with defining the market, all we're really trying to achieve is we want to create a document that gives us an idea of, okay, what are we building, what are we selling, what are the keywords we think we're going to be targeting, and what is the product we're dealing with, who do we think our target market is. We're going to just drop down all these ideas and sort of stick a flag in the ground and say, okay, this is what we think, this is how much money we're going to earn on this thing, and let's move forward. Okay, then we're going to define our market and segment it. We're going to discover the market life cycles, and then we're going to identify who our market personalities are. And when we're doing all this kind of stuff, what we're trying to isolate is essentially what are we selling, who are we selling it to, who are these people, what do they look like, where do they live, how much money do they earn, and how's the best way to actually communicate with them. Once we can identify those things and sort of map them out on black and white, then it becomes easier when we actually start looking for the keywords and the pains in the market, because we now got this visual imprint of who we're speaking to. Because remember, everything is from the market personality's perspective. It's not from our perspective, it's from who we're speaking to. And when we're always looking through the window from their perspective, the whole story changes. Okay, and it helps us build better systems. Okay, and then what we're going to do last is identify some tangent markets, and these are the things on the peripheries, these are on the fringes, on the edges. What markets do these people potentially come from as well? So in divorce, as the example, in the divorce market, people come from bad relationships. They come from spousal abuse. They come from bankruptcy. They come from violence in the home. They come from adultery. All these different segments within different markets essentially lead into divorce. And when we think about those things, that helps us find different keywords we can target in different places, or gives us ideas to build different websites that speak to that specific type of audience, which then leads them into our sales funnel.
Yeah.
Okay, so for week 1, this is essentially what we're going to do. We're going to jot down all our ideas, and we're going to start getting a good feel for what we're doing, because in week 2, when Russell speaks about persuasion and talks about the, not persuasion, I beg your pardon, he speaks about finding the pain in the market and how to deal with it, then that information is going to start making a lot more sense, especially after you hear what Russell's got to teach us. Okay, guys, so that's essentially what we're going to be doing over the next 8 weeks. So for this week's homework, at each section at the end, the last link here, you'll see homework and checklist. That will give you an itinerary of what we have to do, and there'll be some videos just highlighting and showing us a few things. Okay. So for week 1, we want to define our products, we want to define the market, we want to segment our market, we want to define our market personalities, we want to look at the market life cycles, what typically do these people buy and how do they buy it, and then we want to identify the root keywords that defines these sectors. That's essentially what we want to do for week 1. Once we've got those, then that's the starting block. From there, we research, we add to the layer, we add more data, and we start building stack by stack, step by step. Okay, so stack by stack, because it's a stackable system, and the process, we go through a step-by-step process, and we follow the same routine over and over again, and you get different results by applying the same process, if that makes sense. So do you guys have any questions that you'd like to ask at this point in time? And
yeah, there's a couple.
I think that's it for now, Russ.
That's okay. I'm gonna, if you don't have to stay on if you don't want to, I'm gonna try to talk. We're gonna change some formats in this one. This group is intimate enough where we can open the line if we need to. So one of the things I would ask you guys to start doing, we're going to maybe add this to future, documents that says people should have a mic. In some of the courses, it depends on the size. But for now, we'll just stay in this format. The main thing is that Matt is available by Skype. So you got all of the, and as well am I, for the persuasion-based items. I'd like to toss out a couple of very useful references for you guys in terms of persuasion. These are not things that these are all in the course here. Like, you don't need to, for example, in week 2, we talk about the persuasion architecture, the mastery persuasion architecture list. There's a few principles that you'll see again and again that we continue to talk over. And some of the most important concepts on persuasion that I would like you just to have kind of, maybe some of you have books that you have sitting around. Maybe you have a book in your bathroom, or I don't know if you use a Surface or a laptop or an iPad. You can read some of these things on Kindle or whatever. But just know some of the most important books and drivers in terms of persuasion, because it's a very, very, very technical course, very, very research-oriented course, will be 3 books I'm going to lay down for you. Okay, anything by the Heath brothers, which is Made to Stick, okay, is a really, really important one. And Pitch Anything is a really, really important one. And again, these are in the week 2 members area. And the Irresistible Offer is a very, very important one. And those are things just to be percolating as you begin to work up to week 2. Now, Matt, I just wanted to clarify one thing, because generally speaking, I get people asking me on Skype and the rest. We do perform the research within their functions. When does that start within this course?
Typically week 3, but okay. In this course, I'd like to get that started earlier if possible.
Yeah, so we're not delayed.
Yeah, so by the time we come to Kraken, they actually got the data in the tool. So I want to try and get it all done before week 3, so we can start with the initial ideas off basically after they've heard what you said in week 2. Good.
Okay. Main thing is I want you guys to be really clear, because you saw it on the sales page and everything, that we have a back-end system created by Sue and Matt that allows us to really focus on drilling into your terms and breaking them out. It's very, very cool. So you get extra treatment with that type of thing. So that way we'll be able to help you expertly narrow down the words that will be used in that silo structure. And I bring this up because I see a lot of you are really excited in learning how to match the real world sales and persuasion to the highly technical world of co-occurrence LSI silo structures, which, as far as I know, this is the only course in the world that does that. So, again, starting to prepare and think about as we go through this process. Do not hesitate if you guys want to jump ahead to the other chapters. We are still going to guide you through the process personally based on your own personal reference, but you'll have a pretty good idea what's coming up if you just go through the various modules and the rest. I think next week's webinar, it will be the same time. I don't think Matt is going to be on that webinar. I think it'll be myself and Sue, or just myself. Is that correct, Matt?
Yeah, I'll be in Cape Town. My girls are going to nationals for gymnastics.
Yes, Matt has got some successful daughters doing some power moves. So he will be not on that one, but he's around. You'll probably have talked to him in coaching already, and I'll be there on that one. Let me see. We got some questions rolling in. It's good to see that some of you have read Pitch Anything. I do consider that one of the more powerful framing methods out there, and bringing that to a digital format is something we'll be learning. Okay, Lionel brings up a really, really good point. All right. Matt, Lionel's asking, I forgot to ask this question, who has a product and who doesn't? And if you have an SEO business or SEO service, that is a product, but when it comes to building a website, you can actually use your SEO services as a website in this course if you wish. Matt and I are happy to help you frame that properly and think about that clearly. However, Lionel's saying he doesn't have a product yet. Can I use this system to promote affiliate product? Actually, Lionel, I am in the process of building and creating a coherent affiliate program, but all of the technology exists for you to sell Network Empire systems. One of the things that I would say, and we could talk about this later, Lionel, is that I need to double check with Sue. The Network Empire certification curriculum is not currently commissionable for the average person off the street. Okay, there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that we have limited seats available at this live certification event, and in some of these courses, but we are looking at that. I don't think she's on. Well, actually, she is.
I am on.
Oh, apologies. Yeah.
And I don't actually think that that's his question.
Oh.
When he says, "Can I use this system to promote affiliate products?"
I apologize. I thought he was asking if he could sell our stuff.
No, I think he's asking if he can use this course for affiliate product. And to that, Lionel, I'd say absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We just need for you to pick one, because you're going to have to go through the keyword research and understand your product and the pains behind the product. So it's very important that you have a specific product or set of products that you're going to promote. So you want to think about that over the course of the next couple of days and pick something. Yeah,
I apologize. I did completely misinterpret that question, and I'm kind of glad that that was your real question. That was a great we really do recommend that people have products coming into the course. Now, we do have ultimately, I would really like you guys to own your own products. One of our longtime certification students, Katarina, has just launched a course on how to build your own product quickly and efficiently. I haven't talked to Sue too much about it, but I have taken the course. It's quite good. That would be ideal, but you don't really have time now because you're taking this course. So there are a couple things that you can do to find products that don't suck. And why don't you talk to Matt or myself on that process, Lionel? It's really not, we don't really teach people how to choose affiliate products in this course. However, there is, by using the business decision screen in DWS and kind of looking at the commissions and looking at the competition, you can use our document called the $4 million market research questions to determine whether an affiliate product is useful, and then you can apply that to this method. Now, what's kind of interesting is that shouldn't stop you from building the site. If you change your mind later on and you don't like the affiliate program you're with, I've got websites out there where I've built for a specific product, and either the product owner, either the product went out of business as an affiliate, or it just wasn't, or I found one that was better, that paid better, or it just was a super higher quality. You can change the product later on if you're just, but the point is that you should target a concept and stick with it, Lionel. In other words, if you decide if you want to do a permaculture product, then you stick with permaculture as if you have the awesome product and put it in there. The challenge is you'll have a little bit of a difficulty when it's time to put the buy button up, because we really just want you to get the buy button up fast even before the site's built. We just want you to be in the mindset of being able to get paid. But the bottom line is just target, stick with something, choose a path, pick a path, and know that you may not have all the answers and all the products yet, but it will be developed. I'm not going to repeat that one. There's a reason for that. All right, you guys. Sue, do you have anything to finalize this with? Just keep in mind that anybody who doesn't do the homework assignment
No, I think it.
will be whipped and flogged by Sue Bell
Yeah.
personally. And well, do we have a specific? This week's homework assignment should be absolutely, guys. Don't come, Lionel. Don't come onto the next week's call without a clear product selection. Okay.
Yeah, even if it's a temp selection, because it just allows you to actually go through the motions of applying the concepts that you learn in this course,
Yep.
and that's the kicker.
Okay, good. And so we'll go through all of this. Thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, we'll see you on the Level 1 Tech Foundation as your first line of communication. Second line is direct. You have your limited coaching that comes with this. And we look forward to seeing you next week. I'm really glad to have you guys in the Network Empire family. Russell Wright?
I just want to say one thing, Russ, before you close the call.
Okay.
Guys, because it's such a tight group this time, if you all got my Skype address, just ping me on Skype so we can book in your time.
Okay.
And I'd like to just have a chat over the next few days with you all, so we can sort of fast track what we're doing here on defining your week, because we can actually just talk you through it so that you don't get caught up and hung up on the finer details.
Excellent.
So remember, this is just defining your stuff. So ping me on Skype and let's get you guys booked in, and then we can kick this whole thing off.
Thank you. All right. This has been Russell Wright, Matt Cruz, Sue Bell, and Online Business Technical Foundation Level 1. We will see you guys next week, and we'll see you throughout the week in the various Skype support rooms. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Thank you. Cheers, guys. Thank you.